What's up everybody, Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today from Star Wars The Black Series, we are taking a look at the Gaming Greats Darth Maul Old Master. This is based on the legendary outfit from the game, but also has a very similar look to the Rebels Maul, so you can kind of double it as both if you really want to. But taking a look at the package here, you can see it is plastic-free packaging, which again is going away very soon. Short-lived failed experiment by Hasbro, but we do have the Gaming Greats line here. This is one of the Gaming Greats that is still exclusive to GameStop, so you got to pick that up through them. But I'm sure just like most Gaming Greats, it will be pretty easy to find if you didn't pre-order it. But we get a nice shot of Maul right here on the front. Some really nice mural art on the side. We do have his bio on the back if you want to pause and read it now. Maul is the 23rd Gaming Greats figure. On the side we see you get his double-bladed lightsaber and the figure itself, and he stands at 6 inches tall. And last we have the barcode on the bottom here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that lightsaber. Alright, and here it is out of the packaging, looking very nice, definitely Rebels inspired. I always liked what they did with his saber in that series, especially with this little hilt piece right here. You can see also has like 2 little flared ends there as well. In the package, it comes disassembled, so you have to plug the sabers in yourself, and just a word of caution, just be very careful. I actually had to put the hilt in some hot water because I could not get the blades to fit in there. And as we all know, the little pegs on the blades are very, very fragile, so I would recommend doing a little bit of hot water to make sure you don't break anything. But it is really nicely detailed. We get bits of silver paint there, along with some black in the hilt and some great sculpted details. These sabers are a nice, juicy, dark red. And like I said, they are removable, but I'm not going to demonstrate that again because I literally almost broke mine, so they are going to be staying in the hilt for the rest of this figure's existence. But it looks great. I think they did a really nice job. The hilt does not split in half, and it's actually a lot smaller than other Darth Maul saber hilts. And I don't mind that because I feel like on some of the figures it is a little bit oversized. So this actually fits really nicely in Maul's hand. And with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the figure. All right, and here he is out of the packaging, looking absolutely fantastic. I think it's safe to say that this is easily the best Maul figure that we've got so far in the Black Series. Now this time around, we do have some reuse. The legs are from the previous Maul release, which is the Clone Wars Season 7 look. However, the arms and the head are brand new. The torso is a rubber overlay, so the old chest could be underneath that, but of course the only way we'd be able to verify was if we actually cut it off, which I'm definitely not going to do. So it's still really cool that pretty much from the torso up, it is basically a brand new figure. And again, it is definitely Rebels inspired, but not totally accurate to Rebels. You know, he doesn't have the scarf or the hood, and it definitely features a more younger Maul appearance, whereas in Rebels, he's definitely a little bit older. But still, this is just a great looking figure. I love the head sculpt. The tattoos this time around look really nice, and I like the bright red that they chose to go with for Maul's skin tone as well. And I'll show you some comparisons to all the other Black Series Darth Mauls later in the video. But for now, let's go ahead. We're going to get him off the stand and just take a closer look. Alright, so here we are up close and personal with Old Master Maul, and you could just take a look at that wonderful head sculpt here. It is very, very similar to the comic Darth Maul, but there are definitely some really subtle differences between the two that would lead me to believe that this new one is actually a new head sculpt. The horns are slightly different, and there are just some minor differences like the nose itself. And you could even see like the chin profile is a little different. So they are very similar, but I actually think they are different head sculpts. The eyes are really cleanly applied. The teeth look great as well. I love when Black Series figures actually have some expression to the head sculpts here. It's not something we see all the time, so when it does happen, it is really nice. And the rubber overlay here is nicely sculpted as well. We get a little bit of a two-tone look, some black and a little bit of gray there. The arms are also new, again very similar to the comic book Maul, but they are a lot smaller. Especially when you compare the upper arms between the two, you can definitely see they are different, just very similar. And they look great. The tattoos are nicely applied. Everything looks awesome. The gloved hands, of course, are new as well. We have not seen those yet. The back of the figure also has some nice detail to it as well. And the legs here are reused from Clone Wars Season 7 MAUL, although they're more of a black color this time around. And the lower legs are a darker gray plastic as well. So slightly different paint apps. Definitely helps make it look a little bit more unique, but we have seen these before, although the legs still are really nicely done. And obviously it makes sense for this costume to have the same legs, so the reuse here is appropriate in my opinion. And he just looks so great. I know some people think the head can look like a little smiley, but I think if you just angle it right, you get the right idea across. You know, put that head down a little bit and you can make him look like it's more of a sinister grin, like you see here. So yeah, detail-wise, they nailed it. Now moving on to the articulation here, of course, the head is on a double neck peg, so you can get him to look up very far and look down very far as well, which is very important. For MAUL, you want to do a lot of dynamic posing with him, as he is a very agile character. The head, of course, has plenty of tilt side to side, and you can rotate it all the way around 360 degrees. The shoulders do move all the way out, and the actual shoulder pads here are on that separate O-ring, so rotating them around is not a problem at all. He does have butterfly joints, but they are very hard to see. They're definitely buried deep in that rubber overlay, but they are there. You can feel the articulation move like that. We do get single elbows that give you way more than 90 degrees and also have rotation at the elbow. And both hands are gripping hands, and they do both have vertical hinges. Although, like I just recently stated in my Bastila Shan review, I kind of like when dual-wield characters actually do have a horizontal and a vertical hinge just for posing purposes, but both vertical this time around. Now, something here that really surprised me this time around was the ab crunch, which, look how far this MAUL can actually go forward. For a Black Series figure, that's really good. And comparing it to the Clone Wars Season 7 MAUL, you can see you get way more crunch this time around with this MAUL. This is fully forward here on this figure, and you almost get nothing at all. So there might honestly be a little bit of new tooling for the waist here to give him a little bit more crunch. So that is really nice. Of course, going back is pretty much like all Black Series figures, decent amount there. We do also get just a little bit of side to side, and of course it rotates at the waist as well. For the legs, he can kick all the way up, no problem at all. Plenty of split action this time around. Just a little bit of kickback here. Of course, we have thigh swivel. We have a single jointed knee that gives you just about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit less, but it also does swivel at the knee. And then down to the feet, they can go down pretty far. They can go up just a little bit, and he does have ankle pivot. So this MAUL is pretty much par for the course when it comes to articulation. But what I will say is that improved ab crunch really helps with the dynamic posing of this particular MAUL. And it's something that I hope Hasbro starts to change going forward for Black Series figures, especially when they are Jedi or Sith. And now we'll go ahead and do some comparisons to all the other Black Series MAULs that have been released so far. And we'll start out with the Phantom Menace archive release and that comic book MAUL. And you can see it's definitely kind of in between the two. You know, it's not quite light red like the Phantom Menace one, but it's also not nearly as dark as the comic book version either. And here he is side by side with Clone Wars Season 7 MAUL. So you can see while they share the same legs, they have no other similarities. Like I said, unless the chest piece is the same, which it could be, although it's really hard to tell without cutting the overlay off of Old Master. And lastly here, since this MAUL is semi-Rebels inspired, here he is with the Black Series Ezra, and they look great together. And so with all that being said, I think it's definitely safe to say we have the new King of the Darth Maul figures here in hand. This one is easily the best, in my opinion, that we've seen so far from the Black Series. That updated ab crunch articulation is really going to help with those awesome dynamic poses that we all know Darth Maul for. So I would say that this one is definitely an easy pickup, even if you're not necessarily a huge fan of Battlefront 2 or Rebels. You can't deny that this is just a slick looking version of Maul, and I think he'd really fit anywhere on the display that you'd want him to go. Obviously post Phantom Menace, but still, my only real minor nitpicks about this figure is maybe they could have aged the head a little bit more to kind of make him look older, as he does kind of just look like Clone Wars era Maul with a different costume. Otherwise, though, this is an absolute chef's kiss of a Darth Maul figure. So I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. Big shout out and special thank you to all of our channel members. Your continued support is truly appreciated. And thank you to everyone else out there for watching. I'm Nate from Out of the Basement, and I will see you next time.